We're going to go ahead and get started here right on time. I'm one of those people who believes that, right? Starting on time is late, starting early is on time, those kind of things. But let's go ahead and get the ball rolling because we have a lot to cover today. So thanks for joining us. We are starting this new series of QuickBooks Enterprise versus QuickBooks Online Advanced. We are starting this series because a lot of our customers use QuickBooks Enterprise. I'm sure as most of you are aware, we do have a growing client base in QuickBooks Online as well. But we have a lot of our clients coming to us and asking us if they are okay to make the switch. And so we want to start tackling some of these issues. Now, I know I could give out an Excel spreadsheet of all the features that each product has. Most people won't read through them. The biggest thing when you're changing a product is understanding and feeling confident in the navigation and what the abilities are. So that's what this series is going to be about. So today, we're going to focus on probably the most boring part of accounting because there's nothing unique about it, regardless of the system that you're in. But we're going to be talking about chart of accounts. Okay, so just giving everybody a minute to get logged in here. So I'm Marjorie. I am the CEO of Fourlane. I am super excited to be going through this series with you. I plan on learning a lot throughout this because, you know, both QuickBooks Enterprise and QuickBooks Online Advanced in the online space a lot more do mid-year releases. Sometimes they throw things at us that we are not made aware of. So I'm excited to hopefully pick up a couple of tidbits along the way going through these courses with you guys too. So just as a reminder of what makes Fourlane successful with their customers, or what makes Fourlane customers successful, that's what it should really be, right, is our ability to get to data, right? We want to set up our systems. I know everybody has to file taxes, and that's very important. But really, we want to set up our systems so that we can get to the data, so that we can make decisions on a daily basis when we need to, right? So that's always been our focus. And how do we get there? By doing all of these different things, making sure we have the right processes set up, making sure we have consistent training and documentation, doing review, right? There is no set it and forget it in our space. We have to do constant review, making sure that we see what in our processes can be automated. Obviously, we do a lot of conversion work from outside products into QuickBooks, but this is our formula for success. Okay, so talk about the chart of accounts. Get right into the meat of this webinar here. So first of all, what is a chart of accounts? Right? So it is a way to organize your company financial data. It is a way to bucket, basically, right? It's a really glorified pivot table, buckets of information instead of having to look at all of the details, right? It summarizes how much you spent in total in a period of time on office supplies, as an example, right? Instead of showing you the details, okay? And they do this organization in two ways. So we have the chart of account itself, right? Office supplies. And then we have a secondary area, which is your chart of accounts number. Now, a lot of times, and you guys have heard me say this over the years, it's less important now than it was 10 years ago when we were doing conversions. Chart of accounts used to be a really big deal because it defined so much in some of these older ERP systems. It defined where it fell. I mean, people would go in and memorize those chart of account numbers so they knew where to post things in their general ledger. Nowadays, chart of accounts has less meaning to me. It's basically extra organization. So we have office supplies expense, and then we have insurance expense, right? So if we're looking at our chart of accounts, how are we going to decide the order that those two accounts will show up? So most people do things alphabetically, right? So insurance would show up first, office supplies would show up second. How do we get them to not show up in that order? We would use your chart of accounts numbers, right? So if it's 6,500 is office supplies, 6,600 is insurance, then 6,500 would show up higher, right? So again, just ways to organize financial data. All accounting programs will have a chart of accounts. If they don't, you should be concerned because your chart of accounts is the heart of everything accounting, right? It's where all the data goes to. So transactions in your program will point to these accounts directly, right? I can put in a bill and point it directly to office supplies or through an item, right? So I have maybe an item set up. Hopefully we don't have an item set up for every chart of accounts account, but let's say we have an item set up for our widgets, which is what we sell. And that widget will point to a chart of account. Okay. And they do that via a debit and credit. I love talking debits and credits, so maybe we can do a fun webinar on that sometime. Okay, so here's what we're going to be going through today, and I'm going to do everything in product. That's why I like to focus in. We're going to talk about preferences. We're going to talk about list limitations. I have them there. Import abilities, when you manually set something up. List view customizations and cleanup abilities in QuickBooks Enterprise versus QuickBooks Online Advanced. All right. I'm going to start things off inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced because my expectation is that most of our customers on these calls are going to be in Enterprise. And so let's see what's new. Maybe I need to zoom in a little bit. Okay, so again, things I want us to make sure to take away are functionalities, right? What are the variances? And then navigation. Start to feel comfortable with navigation. There is a QuickBooks Online Advanced sample file. So if you Google QuickBooks Online Advanced sample file, you can get into a sample file and follow along. Always encourage that as well. All right, so coming in and going to preferences. So if I come up here and I go into my accounts and settings and I look at my preferences under advanced for chart of accounts, there aren't many because it's really not that much in this table. So you have, can I enable account numbers? Yes or no. Do I want to show account numbers? Yes or no. And then under this area is kind of a weird place to put this, but they have whether or not you're going to be using tips. That is something that is unique to QuickBooks Online, not specifically advanced. And then billable expenses, income account, right? It allows you to say which account you want billable expenses to be billed to. That is a preference here in the chart of accounts area. It is also in desktop, but just in a different area. But really, the only preference that we really care about here is enable account numbers, show account numbers. That's what we got as preferences. Come on down here to desktop, and we go into edit and preferences. Under our accounting tab, we have our account preferences up here. So use account numbers, yes, okay. It doesn't have show account numbers in here. That would be under our reporting area. It has require accounts, which is silly, right? Because if you don't require accounts, then it's going to just stick it to a random bucket of, uncategorized expenses as an example. So always require accounts. That is a preference. And then show lowest sub-account number. So sometimes people don't, right, when we start to organize header and sub-accounts, they don't want to see the header accounts. They only want to see the sub-account. So that preference is in there too. So one extra preference or two extra preferences technically totally immaterial, so it doesn't matter. Okay, then we'll talk about lists. So list limitations, right? QuickBooks Enterprise has a list limitation for the chart of accounts of 100,000 accounts. Okay, so that means you can add 100,000 accounts into this chart of accounts here. QuickBooks Online Advanced has an unlimited amount of chart of accounts numbers that you can add. Now, if you are approaching any of the, like approaching that limit in Enterprise at all, That's something we need to talk about because we're not organized and set up the right way anyway. So if the fact that QuickBooks Online Advanced has unlimited chart of accounts that you can add, and that excites you, then we need to talk about setup anyway. That's a lot. So that being said, let me go ahead and launch our first poll. And so we're going to ask you, how many chart of accounts does your file currently have? Like, I don't even go close to that 100,000 number. Okay, let's see what people are saying. I'll give everybody a couple seconds here to put in their answers. All right, all right, all right. Even if you, let's see, See a couple people put some stuff in there. Okay, very good. Give it 7 more seconds. 8, 7, 6, and we'll go ahead and close that. So it looks like most people have less than 200 chart of accounts. So that is great. We definitely don't want our account list to grow very long. There are a lot of other ways that we can structure our file so that we don't have to see all of those details in our chart of accounts. All right, moving forward, import abilities. So again, coming in here to QuickBooks Online Advanced. Now you can get to this in many different ways, right? So I can say import data from here, and then I can say what kind of data am I importing, chart of accounts. I can also go to my chart of accounts list and just hit import from there. I'm going to go ahead and click on it here. What I care about is what is possible to import. So when you come into QuickBooks Online Advanced, what they give you is they give you a sample file, which I can download. And when I open this up, it has all of the different things on here that I can import into. So I have chart of accounts number. I have my account name. I have my type, detail type as well, right? So type and detail type is something that is unique in the QuickBooks Online space. Okay. So it does give us this. We can fill this in, go back into QuickBooks Online Advanced, browse, upload our Excel file, and populate all of our accounts. Okay. In QuickBooks Enterprise, when it comes to chart of accounts, we have a couple of ways you can do this. Of course, we do have the IAF file. IAF file was changed 2 years ago. It is going through the API now is what they say, so that there should not be corruption imported when you import them. We have not been long enough in this new way for us to confirm that, so we still don't recommend importing IAF files, but it is possible to import them through there. And so if you're going to import via IAF file, you want to export your list to IAF file, choose your chart of accounts, say okay, it'll export from a sample file, whatever it is, and then you can just fill in that template and then go in and import it. I'm not going to show a lot around it because I don't like that way. The other way you can come in and do is import from Excel. Okay. So when we import from Excel, of course, over here, they have customers, vendors, products I sell, but we would have to do the advanced import. When we do the advanced import, we just choose the Excel spreadsheet at first, at least. You can choose a sheet and then come in and add new in the mapping. And we can import an account type. So you can see which data fields you can import into here. Okay, so type, we don't have a detail type in desktop. Number, name, you can import the description, the bank account number, the opening balance. It's not great to import opening balances anyway. Remind me to order checks when I print numbers, track as reimbursed expenses. is it inactive? So there's just more information you can import in here. But honestly, a lot of it is irrelevant because most people are just importing type, number, name, maybe description. And hopefully you're not importing inactive account balances or accounts, right? There's no reason to do that. Okay, so we have our import abilities. Next, we have how do we manually set it up? So we come in here to our settings and we go to our chart of accounts. This is in QuickBooks Online Advanced, and I choose a new account over here. Then we have our account types. So the account type is a really big deal. This is where this account is going to be reflected on your financials, right? So if I choose bank as an example, it's going to show up in my assets as a current asset at the very top, cash and cash equivalents, right? Very top of my balance sheet. If I choose income, it's going to show up at the very top of my profit and loss statement. So the account types really matter. I'm going to choose expense account type for now. So that would show up below cost of goods sold on my profit and loss, right, based on this account type. The account types, again, really matter because that's where is this going to fall on my financial statement. In QuickBooks Online Advanced, they have this second idea, this detail type, okay? So this is just a way to categorize even more. So is this an advertising promotional expense? Is this entertainment? Is this insurance? Is this, supplies? So they just have an additional way to break things down. These detail types matter a lot when you're connecting your QuickBooks Online Advanced file to your taxes, possibly, right? If you're using one of the Intuit tax products. Okay, so it is required. You do have to put in a detail type. And it does matter for some of the cleanup stuff that we're going to talk about later. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a general, right, general expenses. Now, when I set a detail type up, notice the default fills in my name for me, right? Try not to be repetitive, but I'm going to call this general and admin expenses, okay? Now, you can put in a number. Numbers are not required, and I can put in a description, okay? Say save and close. When you are organizing your chart of accounts, look at that. Put the number in the name as well. When you're organizing the chart of accounts, one of the things that you can do as well is make it a sub account or a header account, right? By not making a sub account, I've made this account a header account. Okay. Now, when we come into QuickBooks Enterprise and we create a new account, we have the same thing, so same general organization, because when it comes to a balance sheet, you're going to have assets equal liabilities plus equity, right? So you're going to have the same buckets. We have banks, we have income, we have expenses, and then we have some drop downs here of some other things that would probably be important, like cost of goods sold. So I'm going to do the same thing over here. I'm going to choose an expense account. This is all those flashies. Do general and admin expense. Now, I don't have chart of accounts turned on, right, when I had my preferences and we were looking in there. So let me go ahead and turn on account numbers. Now it just opens up that field over there. There should be some organization to your account numbers, by the way. I know I'm just sticking in random numbers, but that's not the most effective way. But, you can make it a sub account of. You see that here? So same thing, this is going to be a header account for me, so I will not make it a sub account of something else. You can add in a description, I can add an extra note, and then you can choose the tax line mapping here, right? Which looks very familiar to that detail list, right? Utilities, meals, entertainment, repairs, maintenance. So you can choose where it gets mapped in the tax products from here as well. Save and close. Pretty easy. There's not a lot when it comes to setting up chart of accounts. Okay, let's talk about list view customization. So when we're looking at our list view inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced, I'm looking at my chart of accounts. This is my chart of accounts list. There are some things that you can do in here. So I can filter by, right? Start typing something and it just pulls those things up. Start typing invest, there we go. So you can see everything with INV in it. Very user-friendly. We do have some of these in-product advertising in here, right? So get rid of some of those things. You can also come in here, this is very cool, and grid edit. This is something that you cannot do in desktop, is grid edit anywhere when it comes to chart of accounts, right? Only export, import. So I could start to organize, it's usually 1200, 1500, right? I can start to update my chart of accounts if I need to, easily using that grid edit. Okay. We also have some settings for which columns we want to look at. Do we want to include our inactive accounts or not? And then this is something that is unique to online that you'll have to get used to, which is how much shows up on one page. So everybody has chart of accounts less than 200 on this call, so it doesn't really matter. But if you have more than 300 accounts, as an example in your chart of accounts, you might be required to scroll to the next page to see more of your accounts. Okay, so it's just something awareness when we're making a switch into an online product. Not unique just to QuickBooks Online, right? Most online products have a limitation as to how much is going to show on the screen, and that's so that they can load things more effectively, etc. Also, how much can we ingest, right? How much can we really ingest when we're scrolling down like this? Okay, in QuickBooks Desktop, when it comes to list view, so I'm looking at my chart of accounts. The things that you can do in here, you right-click on the top and say Customize Columns. So here are the columns that you can add to the view, right? Active status name. If it's an online account that we're connected to, type balance total, account number, balance. We do have the ability to tie classes to chart of accounts numbers, which we never suggest doing it that way, but anyway, you can add class, description. I don't know why you'd want to show income account, but that's there. If it's reimbursed expenses, and tax code and tax line. So just a couple more columns that you can add in here. Again, most of the information is immaterial. Maybe 1099 account is important, right, to see in this view. So list views, pretty similar. In both of them, if you click on a column, it'll sort by those columns so that you can, I don't know why you would sort by a certain column in here. Also, I didn't touch on the search up top here. So you do have a search. So if I was looking for everything that had pay in it, but I do have to push enter. On desktop, you expect that. QuickBooks Online, it just searches naturally. Very cool stuff. Okay, so the last topic that we're going to touch on today is cleanup abilities. So inside of QuickBooks Online Advanced, so I set up that general and admin expenses account here with the account number embedded. So now let's say I wanted to make another account. Let's pretend insurance. We're going to stick up under general and admin because it's pretty immaterial cost for us as a company, right? We're going to bucket. Everything in your chart of accounts should be in an extra bucket, right? We should have a header and a sub. So I edit insurance and I say it is a sub account of, and then I have my accounts that I can make it a sub account of. So if I choose general and admin and I say save and close, then it's going to stick it, where's my general and admin? Right here, right? And insurance is kind of like a sub underneath general and admin. That means all things that get posted to insurance will roll up to the bucket of general and admin. So I can do sub accounts of. In QuickBooks Desktop, I can do the same thing. However, we have a different way that we can go about doing it in desktop. So if I look at my general and admin, sorry if I type up here. If I type while I'm on the list, right, GEN, I will get to there. So also let me put this back in order. There we go. So let's say we're going to add advertising expenses under general admin. So I do have the ability to come in here, say I'm going to make advertising a sub of general and admin. That is one way. Let's say we were also going to make bank service charges a sub of general and admin. So in desktop, I have the ability to just drag and drop it underneath, and it is now rolling up to general and admin. The last part on cleanup that I want to show has to do with merging accounts. So a lot of times when we're switching systems, what we suggest to our customers if you're making a change is make a change, when you get into QuickBooks. In QuickBooks, things are a lot easier to clean up. And so when we get into QuickBooks, sometimes we'll want to make changes. So let's say, again, that this insurance, I'm now not going to make insurance a sub account of, because I decided, it shouldn't go under general and admin, save and close. Now insurance is just floating on its own. Now I want to get rid of insurance and just have it all go to general and admin, okay? So when I come in here and I look at my general and admin expense, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to do interest paid because it's a little bit interest paid into insurance. It's just shorter words. That's why. So if I come in here and I look in insurance, I have it's an expense account type, detail type is insurance, name is insurance. Okay. So what we want to do is we want to copy that name so we don't have to retype it. Save and close. We're going to merge interest paid into that account. When I come in here and I edit it, if I just paste the name in there, I also have to change the detail type in order for them to merge. So it's a two-step process in order for us to merge accounts for cleanup in here. Say save and close. It will give me all the warnings to make sure that I really want to do this. Could affect your accounting. Yes, I still want to go forward. Would you like to merge them? Yes, I would. Are you sure it really could affect your accounting? Merges them together. So anything that was posted to interest expense is now merged into insurance. Now, obviously, we wouldn't really merge those two things together. I'm just using this as an example. In QuickBooks Desktop, same thing. So let's take contributions. We want to merge it into conferences and seminars. Let's just pretend. So I edit this account, copy, account name, come down here to contributions. So there's not a detail type in here, right? So that part doesn't matter. Paste in the account name, save and close. Says, would you like to merge them? Gives me another warning. Are you really sure you'd like to merge them? Yes, I would. And then sticks them together. Okay. So there's ability to do cleanup in both. You're not losing that functionality when you go to QuickBooks Online Advanced. Okay. That is all I have got for you guys today. Let me launch my final poll. I forgot to do a little bit earlier. So which software are you using currently? If you have any questions, please make sure to stick those in the chat. I will try to get to any questions possible. I do want to end on time, and if we need to cut things off, then we will get back to you post-webinar. I hope that you guys took a lot out of today in learning that basically when it comes to chart of accounts, there's not much difference between the two products, which is good news, right? Builds that comfort with making change. All right. So far, it seems like what I expected, which is most people are in desktop on this call because our client base is predominantly desktop. But we're just trying to get people ready. Ready for that online world, right? Okay, give a couple more seconds here. Thank you guys so much for joining in today. And I look forward to seeing you on this webinar next week, where, let me make sure that I'm not saying anything out of turn, where we will be going over company settings. So it'll be what are our overall company settings between the two products, the differences. Okay, I hope everybody has a wonderful afternoon. Thank you.